Welcome to the EPRS Chronicles. This series will focus on the Next Generation EU Recovery Instrument. The COVID-19 pandemic left an indelible mark throughout Europe. And while we may no longer see lockdowns or masks everywhere on our continent, the socioeconomic effects can still be felt. For this reason, the European Union did far more than secure vaccines. The European Commission rolled out €800 billion in financial relief through what is known as the Next Generation EU Recovery Instrument. We will delve into the details of this historic package with the head of the Next Generation EU Monitoring Service at the EPRS, Mr. Alessandro D'Alfonso. Hello, Alessandro.
Hello, Kelly.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
So, let's start with the basics. What is the Next Generation EU Recovery Instrument?
Next Generation EU is a tool to help member states emerge from the pandemic crisis stronger than before. It finances ambitious plans of investments and reforms that focus on structural challenges, not only in the health sector, where the pandemic crisis started, but also in other policy areas that are crucial for the resilience of our economies and societies. Green energy, the digital transformation, sustainable mobility, education, gender equality are just a few examples that show the broad and forward-looking nature of Next Generation EU.
It indeed sounds very broad and very ambitious. Can you tell us a little more about how this is a milestone compared to former financial relief packages?
Next Generation EU and its main investment tool, the Recovery and Resilience Facility, are indeed unprecedented instruments in the history of the European Union. For the first time, the European Union is jointly borrowing on financial markets on a very large scale, up to €800 billion, to finance strategic investments and reforms in its member states. Another innovative feature concerns the payments that are not linked to the verification of costs, but to the achievement of concrete results.
How is this happening in practice? What are the criteria to give member states this money?
Resources were allocated on the basis of criteria such as population, unemployment rate, and drop in gross domestic product because of the pandemic. The idea is that member states that were worst hit by the crisis will receive proportionally more. In this sense, it is about solidarity. At the same time, we should not forget that investment and reforms in one member state also bring benefit to other member states, since our economies are closely interlinked.
This sounds wonderful, but €800 billion is a lot of money. So I must ask, can you tell us how this money will be paid back and by whom?
Yes, Next Generation EU provides two types of resources, grants and loans. Repayment will start as of 2028 and will take place over 30 years until 2058. Member states that have requested loans will directly repay them. The EU budget will repay the grants.
If the EU budget is to repay the grants, does this not mean that there will be less money for our future budgets in general, for other investments?
To avoid such a risk, the European Parliament is pushing for the introduction of new EU-owned resources. The aim is indeed to preserve the EU budget's capacity to finance strategic investment also in the future.
Strategic investment seems to be the word to describe this package. Can you tell us a little more about how these investments will vary from country to country?
Yes, member states invest these significant resources through national recovery and resilience plans. And United in Diversity is the motto of the European Union. And this motto fits the plans well. There are common objectives to be achieved in 6 areas of European interest, and some of these have also compulsory investment targets, notably the green transition, at least 37% of overall resources, and the digital transformation, at least 20% of overall resources. At the same time, the starting point is different from one member state to another. And the Recovery and Resilience Facility is flexible enough to enable member states to tailor-make their plans to their specific needs in each of these areas.
Could you give us some examples of how countries submitted tailor-made plans?
For example, Bulgaria is the most energy-intensive member state in the European Union. And Bulgaria will devote almost half of its plan to energy measures. Estonia has decided to allocate 1/3 of its resources to strengthening its health system, including through the construction of a new hospital in Tallinn. This will improve access to medical care for Estonians. In Austria, more than half of the resources will go to the digital transformation through a wide range of measures, including enhanced connectivity in rural areas. The idea is that no one should be left behind.
I think no one being left behind is a good note to end this episode on. Thank you, Alessandro.
Thank you, Kelly.
Join us for an update on the implementation of the disbursement of funds from the recovery instrument in episode 2.